Hey there, I'm Linda, a 28-year-old mechanical engineer with a passion for innovation and a knack for getting myself into sticky situations. So there I was, standing in front of Tech and No's gleaming headquarters, clutching my offer letter like it was made of gold. This was it, my dream company, and I'd finally made it. Little did I know I was stepping into a nightmare. "You must be Isolda," a booming voice echoed behind me. I turned around to see Victor, my new boss, towering at 6 feet, radiating authority. "Welcome aboard. I expect great things from you." I beamed. "Thank you, sir. I won't let you down." The first few weeks were a dream. I was nailing my projects, impressing Victor at every turn. "Nice work on the prototype, Isolda," he said one day, actually smiling for once. "Keep this up and you'll go far." I practically floated home to my apartment, where my best friend and roommate Zoe was waiting. "Someone looks happy," Zoe grinned, still loving the dream job. "It's everything I hoped for and more." I gushed. But then things started to change. Victor's praise turned to criticism, and his rare smiles disappeared. "This design is subpar, Linda," he snapped one day, tossing my blueprints aside. "I expected better from you." I worked harder, stayed later, desperate to regain his approval. My coworker, Alex, noticed the toll it was taking on me. "You okay?" he asked one late night when I was still at my desk. "You've been here till midnight all week." I forced a smile, just trying to stay on top of things. Then there was Jasmine, always lurking, always competing. "Oh, Linda," she would say, her voice dripping with fake sympathy, "Victor rejected your design again. What a shame." I tried talking to Greg in HR about the pressure, but he just shrugged it off. "Victor's a perfectionist," he said. "That's why we're the best. You'll adjust." The only bright spot was Ethan from it. He'd stop by my desk with a sympathetic ear and cryptic warnings. "Be careful around Victor," he'd whisper. "He's not always what he seems." I brushed off his concerns, focusing on proving myself, until the day it all came crashing down. I was working on a crucial project, running on 3 hours of sleep and way too much coffee, when I made a mistake, a small calculation error. But in engineering, even small errors can be catastrophic. As I stared at my screen, my heart sank. Victor was going to kill me. I had no idea this mistake was about to set off a chain of events that would turn my dream job into a living nightmare. But hey, they say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? I was about to find out just how strong I could be. I stood in Victor's office, my heart pounding as I explained the error. His face turned an alarming shade of red. "Incompetent," he roared, slamming his fist on the desk. "Do you realize what this could have cost us?" "I'm sorry, sir," I stammered. "It won't happen again." Victor's eyes narrowed. "Oh, I'll make sure of that." He rummaged through his drawer, pulling out a dunce cap. My stomach dropped. "Put this on," he sneered. "Maybe it'll help you remember basic math." Humiliated, I placed the cap on my head as he marched me out to the engineering floor. "Attention, everyone," Victor bellowed. "This is what happens when you make stupid mistakes." Snickers erupted around me. Jasmine, of course, whipped out her phone. "Smile, Linda," she laughed, snapping photos. "This is too good." Even Alex, usually so kind, looked uncomfortable but didn't say a word. I stood there, fighting back tears as my coworkers mocked me. Memories of Victor's snide remarks, impossible deadlines, and public humiliations came flooding back. After what felt like an eternity, Victor dismissed me. I fled to the bathroom, my hands shaking as I called Zoe. "He did what?" Zoe's voice crackled through the phone. "Linda, that's workplace harassment." "I can't go back out there," I sobbed, recounting the humiliation. "You have to report him," Zoe urged. "This isn't okay." Summoning what little courage I had left, I went to HR. Greg listened to my story with a bored expression. "Victor's methods are unconventional," he shrugged. But Greg's response was dismissive. "Effective? Maybe. Just try not to make mistakes." Defeated, I returned to my desk, but things only got worse. Victor began scrutinizing my every move, sabotaging my projects. "Redraw these blueprints," he demanded just hours before a deadline. "They're not up to par." Jasmine, of course, reveled in my downfall, constantly reminding me of the dunce cap incident. "Hey, Linda," she'd whisper, showing me the humiliating photos on her phone. "Wouldn't it be a shame if these leaked?" Even Alex's apology felt hollow. I'm sorry, I laughed, he said, avoiding eye contact. I didn't want to be next. I understood, but it still stung. Weeks passed, and I was at my breaking point. One night, alone in the office, I started packing up my desk. Maybe it was time to quit. As I reached for a photo frame, I knocked over a stack of files. Victor's files. Papers scattered everywhere. And as I gathered them, something caught my eye. Financial reports that didn't add up and emails about creative accounting. My engineer's mind kicked into gear. This wasn't just bullying. This was fraud. I thought about quitting, walking away from this toxic mess. But then I thought about the next person Victor would torment, about Jasmine's smug face and Greg's casual dismissal of my pain. No, I wasn't going to let them win. I carefully replaced the files, my mind racing. I had no proof yet, but I would get it. Victor thought he could break me. He was about to learn this dunce was smarter than he ever imagined. That night, I left the office with a new determination. The old Isolde might have run away, but this new Isolde, she was ready for war. From that moment on, I became a secret agent in my own office. Every snide comment, every impossible deadline, every act of sabotage. I documented it all. My notebook became my weapon, and Ethan from it. He turned out to be a gold mine of information. Victor's been doing this for years, Ethan whispered during a staged computer repair. I've seen at least 5 engineers quit because of him. We dug deeper, uncovering a trail of broken careers and stolen ideas. Over coffee, a former employee told me he took credit for my friend's patent. She couldn't prove it, so she left. I realized I wasn't alone. Other current and former engineers started reaching out, sharing their stories. Together, we formed a secret alliance determined to bring Victor down. The real smoking gun came when I stumbled upon undeniable evidence of fraud. Doctored financial reports, stolen patents, overcharged clients. It was a web of deceit that made my head spin. We need hard proof, I told my allies. Something he can't wiggle out of. That's when I hatched my plan. A fake, innovative design, too brilliant for Victor to resist. I worked nights and weekends, creating a revolutionary, completely bogus energy-saving device. When it was ready, I accidentally left the plans where Victor could find them. He took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. Linda, he purred, cornering me by the water cooler. I'm impressed by your latest design. I think we should discuss how to present it to the board. I played dumb. Present it? But it's not ready. Oh, I think it is, he smirked. In fact, I've already started the patent process, under my name, of course. For the good of the company. Bingo, I had him. As we prepared our case for the board, Victor must have sensed something was off. One evening, he cornered me in the parking lot, his tone menacing. I hope you remember who gave you this opportunity, Linda, he growled. It'd be a shame if your career ended before it really began. I stood my ground, heart pounding. Is that a threat, sir? He smiled coldly. Just a friendly reminder of how things work around here. The next day, Jasmine approached me, her usual smugness replaced by nervousness. Look, Isolde, she said, glancing around. I know you're up to something. Maybe we can help each other out. I raised an eyebrow. I'm listening. I've got dirt on Victor too, she whispered. If you cut me in on whatever you're planning, I'll share it. I considered her offer for a moment. Thanks, Jasmine. I'll think about it. As she walked away, I smiled to myself. The tables had truly turned. That night, I met with my allies one last time. We reviewed our evidence, practiced our presentations, and steeled ourselves for the confrontation to come. Are you ready for this? Ekin asked, concern in his eyes. I took a deep breath, thinking of all the humiliation, the stolen ideas, the careers Victor had derailed. More than ready, I said firmly. It's time Victor learned that karma's a real, well, you know. As we left the cafe, I felt a mix of excitement and fear. Tomorrow we'd face the board and Victor. One way or another, things at Tekken No were about to change forever. The boardroom was tense as I laid out our evidence. Spreadsheets, emails, testimonies, a mountain of proof detailing Victor's abuse and fraud. As you can see, I concluded, Victor has been systematically bullying employees and stealing their work for years. The board members exchanged shocked glances. Victor, red-faced, leaped to his feet. This is absurd. Linda is clearly trying to cover for her own incompetence. That's when my allies stepped up. One by one, current and former engineers shared their stories. Victor stole my patent for the cooling system, one said. He threatened to ruin my career if I didn't falsify test results, added another. With each testimony, in his desperation, Victor revealed even more of his misconduct. So what if I push them hard? He snapped. That's how you get results in this industry. The board chairman raised his hand, silencing the room. Victor, in light of these allegations, you're suspended pending a full investigation. As security escorted Victor out, defeated, Jasmine tried to quietly slip away. But I was ready for her. Oh, there's more, I said, pulling out the evidence she had given me. Jasmine here was Victor's accomplice in several of these schemes. Jasmine's face went pale. I was just following orders. The aftermath was a whirlwind. The company underwent major restructuring. Greg from HR, who had ignored countless complaints, was fired. And me? I found myself with a promotion and a new role. Linda, we'd like you to lead a committee on engineering ethics, the new CEO told me. Your integrity is exactly what this company needs right now. Victor's downfall was swift and brutal. His professional reputation lay in ruins, job offers rescinded, industry connections severed. 6 months later, as I settled into my new office, Ethan burst in, waving a newspaper. You're not going to believe this, he grinned. Victor's facing charges for patent theft from his previous job. Looks like karma finally caught up with him. I couldn't help but smile. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. But the real validation came a few weeks later. I stood on stage accepting an industry award for ethical leadership in engineering. This award isn't just for me, I said into the microphone. It's for every engineer who's ever been bullied, belittled, or had their work stolen. Our ideas can change the world, but only if we have the courage to stand up for what's right. As applause washed over me, I thought about how far I'd come, from wearing a dunce cap to leading an ethics committee, from nearly quitting to winning awards. I spotted Zoe in the audience, cheering loudly. Alex was there too, along with many of the engineers who had stood with me against Victor. Even Jasmine was in attendance, looking chastened but somehow proud. As I stepped off the stage, my phone buzzed with a news alert. Former Techno executive pleads guilty to multiple charges of fraud and patent theft. I smiled to myself. Victor had thought he could break me, use me, and discard me like so many others. Instead, he'd unleash a force he never saw coming. Walking out into the bright sunlight, award in hand, I felt a sense of peace. The nightmare was over, but more importantly, I had made sure it would never happen to anyone else again. Sometimes, standing up for what's right isn't just about personal vindication. It's about changing the system, one unethical boss at a time. And that's the end of Isolda's journey, from humiliated engineer to industry leader. Now here's a question for you. Was Linda justified in setting a trap for Victor with the fake design, or did she cross an ethical line herself? Is it ever okay to fight deception with deception in the workplace? Share your thoughts in the comments below.